Hey Gemini, welcome to Sweet Tea Astrology and Tarot. I'm Erica. Why don't you sit a spell and we'll talk about the stars. Before I get started, let me address the construction that you're hearing out there. It's literally occurring right in front of the house that I live in right now. They are busting up asphalt and going to lay concrete. Yay, but boo. I have a noise canceling mic that I've upgraded to. I hope that it helps. I apologize for the background noise. I am doing the very best that I can by y'all. Thank you for trudging through it with me. Now, Gemini. On the 1st of September, we will be having a new moon solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Virgo. The Sabian symbol for 9 degrees of Virgo reads, two heads looking out and beyond the shadows. And when I was meditating on this Sabian symbol, I kept seeing the picture of people walking or emerging from a storm shelter or a bomb shelter and reassessing the lay of the land of their new reality. And that's really what eclipse season is seeing the world through a new set of eyes. This new moon solar eclipse is occurring for you, Gemini, in your 4th house. And it will be having a T-square impacted as well from the 7th and 10th house. Okay, the 4th house is the house of home and family. It is, it can be where you live or where you consider home to be. Could also cover foundation or roots, whatever that means to you. Family can be your immediate family, your spouse, your children, your fur babies, if you're not married. Could be your roommate. If that doesn't cover you, then it could be your parents, mother or father, or people that you consider to be parents. This T-square is going to be occurring between Saturn and Mars in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces. So, the 7th house is the house of identification with others, open enemies, counseling, and partnerships. Partnerships can be business partnerships, intimate relationships, it can be friendships, acquaintances, just how you identify with others and partnerships that you may have. And the 10th house covers career, status, destiny, authorities, authority figures, and your reputation. A lot going on, dealing with home or family, partnerships, and work. Career status. On the 9th, we have Jupiter moving into Libra, which should feel really good for you because that's an air sign, moving into your 5th house. And the 5th house is the house of pleasure, social life, children, and creativity. The 5th house is also governs lottery and gambling. So this next year may be very lucky for you in that regard, Gemini. And if that's the case, show me some love. No, I'm playing. Let me know so I can congratulate you. On the very next day, we have, and Jupiter being in Libra is a year-long transit. On the 10th, we have Saturn squaring Neptune exactly between your 7th and 10th house. Saturn is the planet that represents limitation, structure, and containment. It also can speak to borders and boundaries, or like the studs, the foundational studs that hold a house up, bones, teeth, the skeleton of a house, or your skeleton. And Neptune can represent nebulousness, illusion, imagination, can also represent refugees and water. And I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to the weather lately, but there's like 5 different major tropical disturbances that are going on that could hit U.S. territories within 5 days or in 5 days. It's some bad stuff. So, yeah, just sorry I went on a tangent there. A little bit of lanyap astrology nerdisms for you. On the 16th, and by the way, if you're watching this at the release date, you can go ahead and fast forward to the tarot portion now because this will be mid-month on. And if you're just tuning back in for the mid-month, welcome back. On the 16th, we'll be having a full moon prenumbral lunar eclipse at 24 degrees of Pisces, and this will be occurring in your 10th house. The 10th house is the house of destiny, authorities, career, status, and reputation. Also authority figures. Could be dealing with a female that you work with, because full moons deal with the feminine energy, and it could be dealing with a female leaving, because it's a lunar eclipse. That's taking something away, that's eclipsing something out of your life, and the full moon is the ending, culmination, resolution point. So heads up. On the 22nd, we have the sun moving into Libra, which is your 5th house, which would be a really good time for you to maybe consider buying a lottery ticket. Because the 5th house is the house of pleasure, social life, children, creativity, and it also rules over lottery and gambling. But you could be dealing with a wonderful time with your children, or just having a great social life spurt. I cannot talk. Mercury is going retrograde today. Yeah. So, speaking of Mercury, on the 22nd, the very same day, that planet will be going station direct, making its post-retrograde shadow motion in your 4th house. The 4th house is the house that represents home and family. Home is where you live, or where you consider home to be. Family is who you live with, or who you consider your parents to be. On the 24th, we have Venus moving into Scorpio, which is your 6th house, which is the house of work and health, or the competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide. Could be a nice time for learning there, or possibly getting a new workout regimen going. You may feel really, your OCD may be up a little bit. That's all right. On the 28th, we have Mars, the planet of energy, aggression, and impulse, moving into Capricorn, which is your 8th house, Gemini. And that is the house of other people's money, regeneration, transformation, metamorphosis, sexuality, primal instinct, basic instinct, life, death, and rebirth. So it's going to be a pretty heated time for that. And if you're partnered or have a significant other, could be a very active time for you. I'll leave it at that. On the 30th, we have the new moon at 8 degrees of Libra in your 5th house, and this will be another great period for you to plant a seed in this house for pleasure, social life, children, creativity. And I'm gonna insert lottery again, because the 5th house is the house of lottery and gambling, and that's a really nice thing. Mars going into the 8th house, other people's money. It's a really good omen for some lottery winnings. And that's just me throwing that right out there to you. So Gemini, thank you so much for hanging out for the astrology. I appreciate you being here. I'm sorry again for the construction. Doing the very best that I can for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the tarot portion. Get some shuffles on off camera, meditate over the cards, and ask for the messages for you. I will also be pulling some oracle cards for you. I'll show you the boxes on the other side. All of this will be time-stamped down below as usual. I appreciate you being here. Hang tight, y'all. I'll be right back. Hey Gemini, I've shuffled off camera, I've meditated and asked for the messages for you, but one thing that I forgot to do that I should have done, thank you Mercury in retrograde, I made this handy dandy little diagram because I'm fancy and all that. I wanted to show you what it's going to feel like. This is where the new moon will be occurring for you in Virgo, where the sun, the moon, and Jupiter are right now, and this is going to be your 4th house. The T-square looks like this and will feel like this to you. Saturn and Mars are in Sagittarius, which is your 7th house. And we have Neptune and Pisces in your 10th house. So you're going to be feeling like you're being pulled in 3 different directions. And that's going to present an area of tension, worry, and concern for you. So, hashtag fancy, right? For the oracle cards that I'm going to be pulling from, the first will be the Butterfly Oracle cards for Life Changes by Doreen Virtue. How appropriate for eclipse season. And the second card that I will be pulling for you is the Sacred Rebels Oracle card by Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by Autumn Sky Morrison, and it is an absolute fan favorite. Now I'm going to put my notes in half because I'm really only doing this tarot spread for the first portion of the month. I'll be back for the full moon and the new moon to pull more cards for you closer to those respective times. But for now, this is for my Gemini friends for the new moon in September. Okay. Let's see how many this was. Okay, that was a lot of cards. All right. We're going to go with what fell. Let me get the butterfly cards by Doreen Virtue for my Gemini friends. A lot going on. There's a lot of people involved. Doesn't surprise me, my social butterflies. I'm going to pull the bottom card for you. I've been doing that for a lot of signs. And the butterfly, or the, sorry, Mercury. Sacred Rebels Oracle for my Gemini friends for September new moon. You got 2 as well. Holy guacamole, Gemini. There's a lot going on for you. I haven't even pulled up or looked at all the cards yet, and just for the amount of cards that have fallen, it's a lot going on. All right. Because I have so much here, I need to pause and situate and get myself together. Not going to rearrange anything card-wise, just going to get it to where I can see it and tell you the story that I'm seeing. I'll be right back. Hang tight. Okay, Gemini, I'm back, and I apologize. It was actually an extended break that I had to take, but I left everything laid out and have come back to bring you these messages. The tarot cards all kind of fell out in one chunk. It looked like it was 3, but it ended up being 5. You got 2 butterfly oracle cards and you got 2 sacred rebel cards. So let's go ahead and try to get through this. Now, the way that I've laid it out for the tarot cards is literally the way that just unturning them or flipping them over is how they presented. Pardon me. So the way that I'm seeing it is the bottom line, or the bottom card, the underlying energy, the overarching theme, however you choose to see it, is the 9 of Swords. Okay. The 9 represents for me the 9th house. It could also be speaking to this new moon solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Virgo. The 9th house is long distance trips, adventures and questing, higher education, philosophy, religion, legal system matters. It's the broadening of the mind and the broadening of your view of the world. It could also cover foreign people, foreign places, foreign things. The 9 of Swords is the card of insomnia for me. Having a hard time sleeping, unable to sleep, or waking up frequently, not getting rest. The majority color in the background is black. I want to remind you that it is always darkest before dawn, and that is especially true, especially with the eclipses. The swords represent air sign energy. The air signs are you, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This could be you or someone close to you. Or it could be someone with the sun, moon, or rising of those signs. This is the inability to sleep, the inability to rest, the inability to be at peace. And the way that it's laid out, these swords are pointing to the past, the recent past. The card after that is Judgment. And I think the reason why you're unable to sleep or having a hard time with this is because of this Major Arcana, the Judgment card, which is the 20th card of the Major Arcana, which represents Pluto. Pluto is in Capricorn right now. Let me move so I can see my notes. That is your 8th house. You may be feeling judged in some area of your life pertaining to the 8th house, or you may be feeling judged in some area dealing to the 2nd house. And I say that because this is the 20th card of the Major Arcana. 2 plus 0 is 2, and that speaks to the 2nd house, which is self-esteem, earning ability, possessions, and money. It is the house of values. Pardon me. The Judgment card as a Major Arcana card is representative of the planet Pluto. Like I said earlier, Pluto is the planet that is symbolic of deep transformation, deep renewal, deep change, fundamental, like on a fundamental level. In the upright, it represents an evaluation point or a summing up, tying up of loose ends period. It's also just, for me, it's the exposing of secrets. It's like the skeletons in the closet being released. In the reverse, it may be skeletons that you don't want released, or it may be things that you didn't know about. Dealing with money or other people's money. In between that 2nd house and 8th house energy. Okay. The top 3 for clarity are all character cards, and character cards are pages, knights, queens, kings, that sort of thing. The first is the Page of Swords in reverse. The Page of Swords for me is a slow-moving messenger or a younger individual, late teens to mid-20s, anywhere from 17 to 26, I would say, around that age. If they're not that age, they're acting this age. The Page of Swords represents air signs, which could be you, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. It could be the sun, moon, or rising of the individual. If it is not you, it could be that of someone who is close to you. In the reverse, the Page of Swords for me is someone who is unbalanced in their speech, in their thought. Their logic is off. The decisions that are being made using the mental faculties just aren't going to be from a balanced perspective, and that's equally so because Mercury is now in retrograde, and Gemini, Mercury is your ruling planet. So when Mercury goes retrograde, it's like you're having a harder time functioning. It feels like your head is a little disconnected, and that can be representative of this Page of Swords. The Page of Swords, or any swords characters that I see in reverse, also make me think of possible dishonesty. It may not be the person is actually lying. They may just be presenting you with information that they were given. They were given misinformation and they're giving it to you. I don't want to just flat out say they're liars, because that's probably not the case. But forewarned is forearmed, coming from an unbalanced perspective, a very subjective perspective. Check the details that you're given from this person or this message, because it's probably not everything that you need to know about it. They're definitely not grounded either. And do you see how this cloud is right here next to their head? It's like they're foggy-minded, which makes total sense for you, Gemini, with Mercury being in retrograde. Mercury is your ruling planet. You may be having, like I said, feeling like a little bit of a disconnect between mind and body. The next card that you got is this is the Knight of Pentacles. This is a faster moving messenger, if it is a message, or it would be dealing with like the internet or texting using your cell phone. It wouldn't be face-to-face communications. This could be a faster moving message or messenger. I also see this as somebody mid to late 20s, mid to late 30s, so 26 to 39-ish. In that area. If that's not their age, they're acting it. The Knight of Pentacles. Pentacles represent, pardon me, Earth sign energy. Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. It doesn't have to be that. It could be their sun, their moon, or their rising. You won't know that unless you've looked at their chart or they've told you about it. The Pentacles also represent resources. Resources cover anything from time, energy, love, the things that you have on hand. It can also be your health. things that you would spend on another living thing or a situation that you cared about or that you need. The final card that you got is the Knight of Cups upright. This is the only card that you got upright. And he's got wings right here, which makes me think of you as a air sign as well. But the Knight of Cups is a messenger, a faster messenger, or someone in that same age group as the Knight of Pentacles, 26 to 39-ish. Bringing you a message of hope, a message that fills you up in some way. One way that, pardon me, the one thing that I thought before I had to pause this video and shift the cards around and try to get everything within arm's reach for me, when I just looked at the tarot, it was like the thing that I thought of was you've been offered possibly a couple of jobs, or there's a situation where you're needing to move, or you may need to move for work and you don't know how it's going to happen. This card for me was pretty much red neon arrows saying follow your intuition, because your mental faculties, the logic of it right now isn't going to work, and the details that you're making the decision on aren't fully fleshed out, and you probably don't know them all. So following your gut is probably the best decision for you in this situation. And Gemini, I know that's hard for you because you're an air sign and we don't like emotions. Ew, yuck, gross. But, you know, physiologically speaking, they say that the nervous system in the mind, when you're in utero and forming, the same cluster of cells that make the brain also help to make up the gut. So that's where the theory or the saying gut feeling comes from. Very, very loose explanation. You can go Google that. But yeah, there are studies that indicate that there's a tie between those two. So with Mercury being in retrograde and things feeling a little foggy upstairs, it would probably be smart to sit back and just think about it for a little bit and let the answer come to you, as opposed to you just sitting and trying to figure it out. Letting it come to you is very much embracing this Knight of Cups kind of flow energy, letting it come to you. This is an eclipse. I can definitely see why you would be feeling some sort of anxiety keeping you awake at night. Like I said, the Nine of Swords is pointing to all of these other character cards. So it's like these offers or these messages are keeping you up at night. You're concerned about the judgment that's going to be coming forth to you. You don't know how it's going to hit your money or your resources or your self-esteem. And all of those things are important. They're all highly valued. You know, trust your gut. Trust your intuition. I think that's the strongest message that's coming forth in this tarot spread right here. I did tally up the numbers. You got the Nine of Swords, and Judgment is the 20th card in the Major Arcana. So 2 plus 9 is 29. Thank you, Mercury retrograde. Let me start over. Got the Nine of Swords and the 20 for Judgment. 9 plus 20 is 29. 2 plus 9 is 11, and that is definitely speaking to your 11th house. The 11th house governs your bucket list, your future wishes and goals, even like the dreams or aspirations that you have for yourself. It also governs your friends, the groups, memberships, and associations that you may be a part of. You could be concerned about the judgment that you're going to get from your friends or from the groups that you deal with on a social level for whatever reason with this Page of Swords and this Knight of Pentacles. To thine own self be true, Gemini, and understand that this path is yours, and nobody else has to understand why you're doing what you're doing, as long as you see the vision and you know what the deal is. I'm sorry. Okay. The Sacred Rebel Oracle deck, you got 2 cards. The first was the Sacred Fool. This is the 40 card for this deck. 4 plus 0 is 4, and that speaks to your home and family, and you are having that new moon solar eclipse in that area. This also makes me think of the Fool in the Rider-Waite deck, where it's a point of trusting yourself, a point of trusting the situation around you, and understanding that everything is unfolding in its due plan, even though you can't see the strings as to why things are moving the way that they are. It's all lining up for a purpose. It seems like the doors that are shutting, there's also doors that are opening, and it's like the pathway to those doors that are opening, the solar lights are coming on. It's at dusk, and you're just now starting to see that path light up. That's what I think when I see this card. It's like you're just now starting to see the path light up, and you have to trust that path. You have to trust that that's where you need to go. The universe wouldn't be lighting it up and pointing and highlighting it so much if it wasn't where you were supposed to be. It's the loving, gentle nudges, and then the eclipses are kind of like the thumps on the head to get you to realize it if you haven't done it yet. That's how I see it anyways. The second card that you got is New Birth Guarded Vigilantly, which I think speaks to possibly a creative endeavor that you are wanting to pursue, or that is just now starting to bubble to the surface that you're thinking about pursuing, some major change that you're wanting to go with. This is, like I said, the 24th card. 2 plus 4 is 6, and that speaks to the Virgo ruled house of work and health, or the competency and skill that you bring to the services that you provide. So you may be wanting to take a new class, you may be wanting to pursue a new side job or a new side hobby that could possibly be a new career at one point. The message here is to guard this seed carefully, because this is a new moon solar eclipse. It is a seeding period for you. In the 4th house, you may be wanting to do an at-home business. And if I were you, I definitely encourage it. I made this channel in May, and it has taken off like a rocket. Much faster than I ever could have imagined, and it has actually caught me off guard, and I'm scurrying, trying to catch up to accommodate everyone. And thank you for being here. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing it's a wonderful problem to have to solve, and I'm not complaining at all. But I have yet to tell people on my Facebook page that I even have this channel. I've guarded this very carefully and very closely. One, because I didn't know how it would do, and 2, because I didn't want to deal with their judgment on a day-to-day basis. I deal with a lot of different individuals that would be quite judgmental of what I do, and I just really don't want to have to defend what I'm doing. Nobody's walked my path, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the same mindset that I would like to help inspire with you, is that this is your path and nobody else knows it, and you have to trust your gut and know that that path wouldn't be opening itself up to you if it wasn't meant for you to take the steps towards it. Now, this eclipse season has already shifted around a lot of energy for you, and it will continue to, and we're going to feel the effects for these 3 different eclipses for at least the next 6 months, or for up to the next 6 months of life, and past that, depending on what has happened. If you've lost somebody, then yes, it's going to take longer than 6 months to get over that. It is, and I'm sorry for your loss. One of the cards for the Life Changes Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue that you got was Grief Work. And grief could be dealing with actual grief, dealing with loss. And that doesn't need to necessarily be of a person. It can be of the loss of a job, the loss of a home, the loss of a situation, the loss of a pet, just the loss of a friend or a status, or understanding that a dream that you once had is no longer going to be able to happen. That doesn't mean that it has to be the end of it. Just try to find a way to rebirth it. I'm sorry about the construction noise again. It's occurring right in front of my house. There's nothing I can do about it. But this grief work, if it is not involving you, then it is dealing with someone close to you. You may need to be a support system for someone who is going through a tremendous amount of grief. Take care of yourself and employ your self-care measures, because if you are being a well for someone else to draw from for their strength, you need to have something for them to be able to draw, and you need to have something you need to be able to sustain on. People won't go to a dry well. You have to make sure that you are fulfilled, and that means taking time for yourself. And that comes from someone who has recently had to walk the path of helping a very dear friend of mine through grief, and she's by no means through it. This could also be where you are possibly being guided to work as a counselor or a therapist or a grief worker. This may also be where you need to reach out for help. You know your particular situation. If nothing else, these eclipses just feel so traumatic that it feels like you are grieving the loss of something. But understand that every ending is laying the much needed nutrients for a beginning. You have to have the end of chapter 1 before chapter 2 can begin. And it has taken me a long time to understand that. The second life changes oracle card that you got, Gemini, is moving. Now, this could be dealing with a physical move because you are having 4th house energy. That's where this new moon solar eclipse is occurring for you, and that is the house of home and family. So it very much could be a move physically. You could be looking for a new home or looking for a place to rent. It could be in conjunction or due to needing to move because of work. If we're looking in conjunction with the other card that fell, you could be having a moving emotional experience. This also could be a card inspiring you to get your body physically moving, because that's always a good thing to help us release some of this energy that is hitting us because of all of these planetary shifts. It's a good way to work aggression out. It's a good way to ground your body. That's what I'm seeing for you for the first half of September, Gemini. Take some deep breaths. Employ your self-care. This is a very sensitive time for all of us. Be kind to yourself and save some of that kindness for others, because like I said, we're all dealing with this just in different areas of our charts. I hope that this new moon solar eclipse brings you many bright blessings. If I could talk, y'all. I'm telling you, this is going to be a fun Mercury retrograde. It's okay. We're all going through it. I'm owning my struggle. Anyways, I hope that this gives you many bright blessings. I hope that this reading was empowering and enlightening for you. And if it was, please thumbs up, share, subscribe. And thank you so much if you already have. I appreciate it more than you know. I will be around for the new moon and the full moon towards the end of the month, or middle and end of the month, and pulling more cards for you then. Take care of yourself. And I'll see y'all for the full moon on the 16th. Until then, namaste.